will be speaking about House Bill 142 that was recently passed. So just for some context, it's no surprise to anyone that vaping and uses of substance have been increasing among our students. You see in this chart, you know,
I'm winging it here, but I am familiar with this. And what Judy was going to show on this slide was the events that we have from our Safe Schools report, and just how important this topic is, because we are seeing a marked increase in drug, alcohol, and tobacco events in Kentucky. A subset of those, of course, is the vaping, which is what the bill addresses. And so you'll see here there is a increase of at every single level, 475% increase at elementary. So even though the highest number of incidents are in high school, we do see that these type of events are rapidly growing at elementary. So it affects all of us. Here is the requirement from House Bill 142. Each local school board must amend its written policies that prohibit the use of tobacco, alternative nicotine products, and vapor products to include the distribution of evidence-based, age-appropriate prevention and cessation materials to all students at the beginning of each school year, and access to evidence-based, age-appropriate nicotine prevention and cessation materials. So this requirement obviously is a big undertaking for districts, and so we're going to have some new ways to document that this is happening, that this was, you're in compliance with this. This is in addition to House Bill 142, like the documentation of the provision of those materials. There is also some guidance about the responses and resolution. So the new guidance does have more of a graduated progressive discipline approach. So upon the first incident, the student must be referred to the school counselor or other school-based mental health service provider to review these materials, these cessation materials. The local school board can have additional disciplinary action offenses, but the bill does specify that at the third incident, this can result in in-school or out-of-school suspension. Either way, the students have to be provided access to prevention and cessation materials during an in-school suspension. And it should be noted that the removal, so exclusionary discipline consequences, while they are permitted under this law, they are not required. In terms of data documentation, the additional requirements are the number of behavior incidents for tobacco, alternative nicotine products, and vape products has to be reported to KDE annually, whether a medical intervention was provided, and responses that include a referral to a counselor or mental health counselor and access given to cessation materials. Okay, so here are some of the new data entry requirements in Infinite Campus. So in your behavior tab, when the users are selecting the behavior event of drug or tobacco use, possession, or distribution, they're required now, you are now required to select an option for the drug type drop list. So this list is what's referenced in the bill, and those options are listed here. When a behavior event involving the above drug types, the bill requires that the resolution for the first incident that that a school counselor or another school-based mental health service provider is providing materials to the parent, guardian, caregiver, and that the student is receiving evidence-based, age-appropriate nicotine cessation information. So that is new. And you will see this in the new release. KDE also recommends that districts create a new local behavior resolution to track this for these specific behavior events. So you can reference the data standards, the updated data standards, and you can also look at the specific steps. So you can see the path here is the behavior admin resolution types. And you can just search resolution types if you need to. But you can see on the screen here, then a sample that would fulfill the requirements of House Bill 142 would be, you name it, nicotine cessation information provided. And then that way you have that as your resolution that fulfills the requirements. So remember, there was also a requirement around medical interventions. If a behavior event involves a medical intervention, users must also select. There's already an indicator on there named medical services provided in the participant details section of the behavior tool. So make sure to click that. Output of this indication will be added for Safe Schools reporting in the future. So if you're familiar with the Safe Schools report, that's going to be now reported for drug and tobacco violations. Some great resources are listed here. There's a new infographic that KDE has released on addressing substance use and vaping in Kentucky schools. We also, of course, see this as you saw in the data, rapidly growing area for across our school districts and schools. And so trauma-informed discipline policies and resources around evidence-based treatments are critical to review. Again, re-review as you start the school year. So there's some resources there. And then KDE also has guidance around House Bill 142. Okay, I think that's the end of that slide. If there's any questions, I might be able to get Judi on the phone. Oh, you're fine. We work on this together. So if she's on the phone, maybe I can help answer. We can both answer some questions.
So right now I do not have any questions, but Judi, now that we can hear you, is there anything else you'd like to add or stress on this? We've got a minute.
I'm really sorry about the technical issues. So I will say that. As far as this topic, no, I mean, I think, you know, the spirit of the bill is to really utilize progressive discipline with vaping, because a lot of kids are using it to cope with mental health challenges. And so, you know, I think it's a very important bill, and hopefully, you know, we'll be doing more prevention, education, and support for kids who are struggling around this topic. So,
well, thank you, Florence, for stepping in. Thank you, Judi,
yes,
for this information. It's an important topic to us today. Much appreciated.